I got it. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back from the weekend. It's the Stokastic.com MLB strategy show. Dave Loughran, Josh Engleman, back together again, talking a little bit of baseball. 8-game slate, a Paul Skenes slate. So we have that.
We do.
The thing is, outside of Skenes, not a ton. I mean, yes, you have Pivetta against Seattle. It gets ugly past. Like, I'm a big Logan Gilbert fan. You know, you and I were heavy on him last time out in Seattle in a better matchup. But looking at the rest of this, there are some good pitching options up top, but nothing that jumps up. Let's be honest. Even Skenes has a matchup against one of the lowest strikeout teams in the league against Houston. He's just dominant, so it might not matter.
It's an interesting slate. It's a weird one because obviously Skenes has been on a completely different level than everybody else this year. Only 10-5, like that's a pretty reasonable price tag. However, matchup against the Astros is not a good time at all. Mariners are on the road, as you mentioned. Like, we've had this little narrative of trying to get these Mariners guys when they're pitching at home. They're not pitching at home today. They're pitching in Boston. And then on the opposite side of that Seattle team, you have Nick Pivetta, who looks like pretty easily to me the second best option that you can get to. Massive strikeout stuff. We only really have like two good pitchers today.
That's what I mean. Like, when you factor everything in, there's not a lot. And I'll just, I won't bury the lead on you here. You get the knuckleball today too on DraftKings, the 50K up top, $5 entry.
So awesome. So awesome.
I wish do you think they could fill these more often if they just did this instead of the mini? Because
we'll find out.
Well, the mini max is sweet, but the problem is it's the 10% payout, which
they're missing like an $8 150 max.
Correct. Right. For like a 20K up top. That's what they're missing.
No. I got to be 50. 50 is the minimum. Whatever we can do to get to 50 all the time. It doesn't. I have very little doubt that it doesn't have to be the $18 bat flip every day.
Oh, okay. I see what I meant is like a supplementary contest. If they could get one to 20K up top, if they still had the 15 or the 18. That's what I meant.
Yeah, I want to get rid of the 15 and get it to 10.
Right.
If I can.
That'd be sweet. Absolutely. And you could still do 50. I think you could 50K. But the knuckleball today, 50K up top. So it is 25% to first. That's the difference. The thing, I wish I would be fine with the mini max if they just did, like, say it was 80K and they just did even like a 10K to first or a 15. It doesn't have to be 10% to first. You could do a little bit higher than that and nobody's not going to play it. Like, everyone's still going to play it.
Agreed.
Plus, if I'm losing that day, I'm losing a lot anyway, regardless of what first place gets paid out,
Correct.
Makes no difference at all. So I'd rather just, like, if I'm going to have one of those days, I'd rather it wipe out the losses. But 50K to first in the knuckleball, 150 max, $5. So that's a sick one today. When I said I wouldn't bury the lead, just by far, Josh, two highest exposures to pitchers. And we'll work through all of this.
Yeah.
Paul Skenes and Nick Pivetta for me. It's not really close. And then number 3, also up there before it flattens out a ton to just like sub 10% guys. Do you want to take a guess?
Colin Ray.
It's not Colin Ray, but I don't hate. He's actually been very good outside.
He's my third most exposed guy, so that's why I asked.
Mine is Alec Marsh.
Okay, that would have been. He's my fourth, so that was my next guess.
I might manually boost Jordan Montgomery a little bit, as gross as it sounds.
Okay.
I understand that he's not good. Came off the IL. The underlying numbers in that first start back weren't great, but they weren't bad either. Allowed 1 run, went 5 innings, 67 pitches. I think he goes 85, 90 pitches today. I'm really not too worried about that. Like, if you go 5 innings, they would have let him go 75 to get through 5 innings. I have no real doubt about that, right? So I think it's reasonable to assume you get upwards of 90 from him. Minus 170 favorite. Washington doesn't strike out versus lefties, but they're also terrible against it. Like, lowest ISO in the league against lefties, lowest walk rate in the league against lefties. They're still very bad against them. It's not a homer-friendly park for lefties or righties alike. So I think, just given that he's getting no ownership at all, but you are getting ownership going to some of these other cheap guys that aren't exactly trustworthy. Like Marsh is getting 20%. Some of these other guys, Colin Ray is getting 15%. Montgomery's getting 2%. So I don't think it's insane to get, even if I got 10% of him, I'd be fine with it. 10, 15%.
I'm not with you, but that was an impassioned argument for Jordan Montgomery. I'm sure he would be happy about it.
I'm not trying to convince you of anything. I'm just saying pitching is bad. And if you're paying up for Skenes, like I think a lot of people are going to pay up for Skenes and then they're going to go to an extremely cheap Cub stack against Carson Spires in Cincinnati, assuming that weather holds, right? I think you're going to see.
Well, you just named my first team.
Not surprised. I think you're going to see a ton of Kansas City against Chris Flexen today in Chicago.
That would be number 3.
And I think the one spot that I kind of like that's getting not slept on, but not that popular, Pittsburgh against Jake Bloss. We talked about this last time. Remember we said Oakland might be the most kind of under the radar stack last week, last week, and they ended up hitting 4 home runs against Bloss, I think 5 or 6 on the day. That would be another spot I like. But point being that there are
you like Pittsburgh? Is that what you're saying?
I do.
That would be my number 1 team.
Dude, I've been just dialed in lately.
Could you imagine if you were as good at like DraftKings as you are just choosing the things that I need you to choose on this show? Holy shit. Can you imagine? Use your powers for good, man.
I know.
Damn.
That's why I'm good at this show, though, at least, right?
You're out here just absolutely nailing my exposures and guessing people's WOBAs and shit. If you could just funnel that information towards building a lineup, man, that would be the shit.
God just hates me. But either way, you see where I'm going.
He hates you, man. What does he hate? How much does he hate like real bad people then?
I know. You see where I'm going with this, though, right? Like, I think there are some clear funnel spots from a Skenes lineup. All I'm saying is maybe some cheap pitching that's not really getting much recognition would make a little bit of sense here.
So here's my issue. Oh, we mentioned Skenes and Pivetta. You mentioned Marsh. I said he's my 4th guy. I mentioned Colin Ray as my 3rd guy. 90% of my pitching exposure goes to those 4 dudes. I don't have anybody else in more than 2 lineups, and I'm playing the full 150 today. So when I say I have 4%, that is a tiny 4%.
I get it. Listen, I have 0 Montgomery right now. I don't have any. That's why I said I might give him a little bit of a.
Dude, I thought you were going to tell me that you surely had 15 to 20. Not even a single share. That's good. That's good. Let me tell you guys how much I like Mitchell Parker. By the way, I don't have any, and he's unrostered.
I said I might manually boost him. That's what I was saying. No, I mean, really, it's just a ton of Skenes, Pivetta, and Marsh right now.
Yeah, I have 64% Skenes, 74% Pivetta. It's a big one up top. Do we want to talk through those 2 dudes and just figure out how they're going to fail us?
Yep, let's do it. Before we do, though, happy to have you guys with us. Hopefully you had a great weekend. If you don't mind, take a single second, hit that thumbs up, atone for your sins this Monday morning. Subscribe to the channel as well. It's greatly appreciated. For real, goes a really long way. We wouldn't ask you otherwise. Help us get to 100K. We got football coming up. Yeah, we appreciate you guys for that because it's a big deal around here. We hit 100K, we'll have 2 channels with 100K. That'd be pretty awesome. But if nothing else, just tap that thumbs up. And if you ever want to listen in podcast form, you can. Apple Podcast, Spotify, wherever it is you want to listen, we got you covered. And follow Josh at Josh Engleman. He's got a betting show, Pick'em Show, coming up. Twitter exclusive. Well, it's here too, but on Twitter or the X, sorry, on X. Coming up right after this, 12 Eastern. I'm at Loughy_D, LOUGHY_D. Yeah. All right. So and I agree, Steven, 7,200 on Montgomery's a little bit high, which is probably why I'm getting none of him.
Mm-hmm.
Like Colin Ray is going to grade out better, I think.
Yeah.
Like I'm getting 6% Colin Ray. So I agree. With that.
I have 28.
Well, I have 90% Skenes right now.
That'll help.
So
that's the guy you want to have 90% of too.
So pretty much I have one guy occupying the SP1 spot, and then you have to fill 100% with how many other guys?
Right.
So yeah. Skenes could fail us because Houston. Well, here's the thing. Yes, Skenes could anyone can fail you on any given slate. We've learned that the hard way. We've learned it the easy way. Sometimes it works for us. Sometimes it works against us. But Houston doesn't strike out a lot. That's the big downside here.
Does the betting market care? That's the question for you. Let's play guess the lines.
It's
Paul
probably
Skenes,
still 7.5 on Skenes.
I want you to give me the line for Paul Skenes, 10 or more strikeouts.
It's probably still only like plus 380.
I feel like you're trying to send me off your scent right there with that one. Make the other ones more important.
Is it way longer odds?
No, 340. You're all over it.
Oh, okay, so I'm close enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're just
plus 180 for 9 or more.
What's that?
Plus 180 for 9 or more.
Do you guys realize how insane that is?
Yeah, like, here are the strikeout rates for the first 5 guys in the lineup. 17, 13, 17, 17, 19.
Yeah. Speaking to you guys watching this show right now, are you, I think you are, most of you who watch this, we talk about this all the time. Plus 340. I thought if I was wrong on that, I gave too short of odds, not too long. Plus 340 for double-digit strikeouts against the Astros in Houston. Houston has a 19% strikeout rate versus righties on their active roster. I mean, it's just it doesn't matter who he's facing right now.
No, I mean, he's been the best pitcher in baseball. I don't know. Like 31% K rate to lefties, 37% K rate to righties. His highest X ISO to either one of those hands is 133, 14.5% swinging strike rate. Like, what do you do here?
I play 90% of it.
Yeah. I only have 64.
Yeah. The problem is it's really tough to get away from a guy like that when it hasn't just been the strikeouts. It's that he doesn't give up runs either.
Yeah, it's true. But that's helpful.
Do you know what his ERA is on the road this year?
Probably 0 or something.
Yeah, 0.86.
Yeah. I mean, no matter what you ask me, the answer to the question is going to be some preposterous answer that's really good.
Like, this is nuts, man. Fantasy point totals on the road, DraftKings points, which are harder to come by than FanDuel points for sure. 39, 29, 27, 25, and 41.
He's confirmed good. He's never given up more than 3 runs in a start. And that only happened twice. He's never walked more than 2 dudes.
I won't ask you the question of like high leverage spot, game 7 of the World Series, because we've seen things when you're this young of a pitcher. I don't care what anybody says. That environment is different, right? Like I'll go, it's not even a narrative. It's just a fact. Like when you get into a spot like that, you agree with me, right? Like you get into a game 7 or like high leverage spot, and I shouldn't say high leverage, but just like a big spot in the playoffs, it's different, totally different. So I won't be like, what pitcher would you rather have in game 7 of the World Series? But I'll ask you this. Is he already a top 3 pitcher in baseball?
Yes.
Who are the other 2? There's a few answers you could give here. Like, I think pound for pound, start for start, Zach Wheeler is up there. Wildly consistent. Just like Wheeler's up. Wheeler's one of them. At least top 5, without question.
Let me think about it here.
Like, do you put Strider or Glass now?
Yeah, what do you do with DeGrom?
That's tough. It's like I forget that DeGrom's even still in the league.
Because I think that he is. If I only need him to make one start, like that might be a good thing.
No doubt. Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
He's going to be
think
back soon,
I think
by the way.
Strider had a real argument for the answer. I don't think that it could be him.
Wheeler's not as flashy. He's just.
I think he might be just number one.
Who, Skenes?
Yeah. Of anybody that's available to pitch right now?
He might be. Sale has still been spectacular, but Skenes has been better. I say all of that just because it doesn't matter anymore who he's facing.
No.
Justin Sports said a couple guys said Scooble. Yeah, Scooble's been awesome. Scooble's been really good.
Yeah.
S&P Clayton Kershaw couldn't handle playoff baseball for years. Oh man, yeah, the Kershaw stuff in the postseason. Einsteinium said, "Good morning, fellas. What's up, man? Thanks for the super chat. Am I missing something with Eovaldi? Better strikeout matchup than Skenes, pulling minimal ownership." So I don't think you're missing anything, but I don't think he's pulling minimal ownership either. Here's why. He's getting close to 15% on an 8-game slate, but Pivetta has a way better strikeout matchup than he does. So much of that ownership that would go to Eovaldi's going to Pivetta. And then Skenes isn't that much more expensive than Eovaldi. Like Eovaldi's 9,300. Skenes isn't 11.5. He's 10.5. And he's just, like we said, probably the best pitcher in baseball right now. Definitely top 3. As our friend Adam would say, Eovaldi might just be a casualty of the slate.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like the Cardinals still have a 4.4 run implied total. I think that's kind of interesting. Like that's not as low as you would expect. They're 7th against righties in WRC plus. Now they have a decent enough strikeout rate, but they're still only 12th. I don't find Eovaldi to be all that interesting. Like I don't have a problem with Eovaldi, but I think he's like properly owned at 15%.
That's what I'm saying. I think 15% makes sense. Yeah. To your point though, Einstein, like Eovaldi has been really good. He goes super deep into games. He's pitched 7+ innings in 5 of his last 6. You have that nice type of efficiency there. He has strikeout upside. I have no issues with him, but I just think I think the problem becomes when you're sandwiched in between Skenes $1,000 above you, and then Pivetta against Seattle $1,000 around below you. You kind of just aren't going to look quite as good. Like if you flip this and Pivetta was 93 and Eovaldi was 85, I think you'd be seeing more ownership going to Eovaldi.
I mean, the real problem here is that I'd rather go to Logan Gilbert than Eovaldi.
Would you?
Yeah.
Why?
I would. Well, he's pulling more ownership, so I don't know why that was such a surprising answer.
Not surprising. I like Eovaldi a little bit more than Gilbert today, but Gilbert's awesome.
Both opponents have basically the same implied total. Should be in around like 4.4 or 4.5, something along those lines. This Red Sox team strikeout rate, middle of the pack against righties, nothing crazy. Now they've been way more successful overall against righties. 121 WRC plus. That is 2nd in the league right now for active rosters. So that's not the best part here. Logan Gilbert, solid enough strikeout guy. Park is basically the same. I have the talent level of both offenses exactly the same in terms of WOBA. It's really comparable. I have the Cardinals projected to strike out 2 percentage points less than Boston. I think that's carrying a lot of weight.
Listening to you speak through it, looking at the numbers, the more I think about it, I actually have them pretty close to equal the more I think about it.
Yeah, like I have the implied ownership on Logan Gilbert at 16.5, and I have Eovaldi at 12. That's basically the same person.
Yeah, it's not that far off. And we have projected ownership looking at the top pitchers tool right now on Stochastic. We have Gilbert at 15.9, Evaldi at 13.8, 2% off.
And we have Gilbert by 0.15 fantasy points. I happen to have it slightly higher at 1.6. So that's causing that. But I'm not getting to Gilbert either. So it's really just a testament of how good Skenes and Pivetta look.
Wow. I just looked at this now. We have both of them with identical top 2 pitcher probabilities, 15.4%.
So I have Logan Gilbert at 20 and I have Eovaldi at 16.
So that's why.
Yep.
Yeah.
So like
right.
barely a difference, but I have 4% of both of them either way. I think they are the meat of the Skenes Pivetta sandwich. And it's like bologna.
It's like a prison sandwich.
I wouldn't know. If I could,
me neither.
This is going to be a weird one. If
what?
I could guarantee my safety, like if I weren't going to get assaulted in any manner in jail, I think I would thrive in jail. Like I like being by myself. I'd love reading. Like if people just left me alone, I think it'd be pretty great.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is when you don't have a choice.
Yeah, I'm not saying I want to be there. Let's be very clear here. And I cannot control my surroundings. So I assume I get hurt in multiple ways. Those things are the unappealing parts of prison to me. But the being able to just like hang out sounds great. Like slightly less rights to living in the dorms. I could handle that.
It'd be better though if you I don't think we want to go down this path.
Okay, I have a different path to go down then. We get a completely different path. You're gonna like this one.
But John, to clarify, you're just saying that you wouldn't mind a life of solitude, is what you're saying.
Yes, more or less. Yeah.
Yes. The difference is,
but I wouldn't think like, oh no, I'm just laying around doing shit again today, because it'd be like, oh, you don't have a choice. That's okay. Like I'd be able to come to terms with it.
The problem though is like if you're in there and would you be in there like knowing that you'd get out eventually?
I don't know.
Because otherwise, all these books you read and all of this knowledge you gain, like all of it's unusable.
No, that's not true.
Yeah, it is.
What do you mean unusable?
What are you going to rule from the inside?
How much knowledge have you acquired in your life that you use right now? Basically none of it.
But the knowledge that I can use it.
Yeah, well, I don't care about that. Like I could read historical like novels and just have that knowledge. There's no different whether I'm in jail or out of jail. What does it matter? I'm not gonna go like join the military because I read a historical book and I'm out of jail.
Yeah, sure. You can share your newfound insights with your fellow inmates in the yard. That'll be good.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead. What were you gonna say before we get back to this?
I bought a Ninja Creamy this weekend.
The hell's that?
Think of it like an ice cream maker. But I can make protein ice cream. I made that yesterday and I made it today. Amazing, dude.
Yeah?
Amazing. What an incredible, so much better than a protein shake.
What are you using? Whey?
So I bought a bottle of protein milk, basically. Like a pre-made protein shake, essentially. You know, the little
whey protein?
Yeah. Pour one of those in a cup. I used 1 scoop of mocha protein powder, and then like a half pack of sugar-free chocolate pudding mix. You mix all that stuff together and you freeze it. You put it in this machine. You spin it a couple times. Have you ever gotten like a milkshake at like the gas station, like Wawa or Sheetz or anything? You know those machines?
Yeah, sure, of course.
Basically the same principle as that. But I let that rip. It's like 50 grams of protein ice cream that I had for breakfast today.
It sounds delicious. I'd never use it.
Oh my God. I'm going to use it every day.
I'd just crush a protein shake, get my 30 grams.
I'm a fiend for ice cream. And this is like 100% filling that, scratching the itch.
I believe it. I mean, look, it sounds cool. But I don't know if I'd use it. Because I just put it in, shake her up, knock it back.
Yeah, no. I want to sit down. It's gonna be great at, like when I get dialed in for nights, because I always want ice cream at night. So like 7 o'clock at night,
you get
go
your
to a workout.
Ice cream.
What'd you say?
You get your protein ice cream in at night and then pass out. Yeah, it's not bad. All right. I hate to leave any stone unturned here when we do this show.
Let's leave him unturned. I'm
We
not
might
talking about
have to.
Adrian Payante and Carson Spires and
That's the
Mitchell
problem.
Parker. It's awful, dude.
There's not a lot here. Like Flexen is, I'm not getting Flexen here. He's cheap, but all of these guys have positive leverage, but it doesn't mean a ton. Let me just see, because what I expect to get, this is what I expect to happen with my pitching, is that I will just have between like 3 and 8% of all of these of many of these guys.
Yeah.
5% Tyon right now, 6% Colin Rea, 3% Woods Richardson.
I have 7 guys that are either in 1 or 2% or 4% of lineups. 7 different dudes.
I have 9% Jake Bloss though.
I mean, the public has 10. Look, it's not as if the Pirates are only the favorites in this game because Paul Skenes is available to save the day.
Correct. The only reason. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not like the Pirates are all that good. I have them projected for the second lowest projected WOBA of all 16 teams today. 25% projected K rate, quite high as well. Their active roster is 8th. I mean, there's a path to it.
There is. He has an 11.5% swinging strike rate, 20% K rate. He wasn't like a prolific strikeout pitcher at the minor league level at all. So I wouldn't be convinced that he is, going to be a 20% strikeout pitcher, but you just named it. A lot of this is just matchup dependent. And you don't have a super high total for Pittsburgh right now. There's also just not good value at pitching. Also, I'm sure you noticed this, but if you look at the implied totals on this slate, outside of Houston, and I'll use our totals here, and ours skew a little bit higher than what you might see on the books. So like 3.7 for Houston against Skenes and company, 4.1 for the White Sox against Marsh. Then every other total is 4.4 or higher. Yeah, every other total.
It's a weird day. It's a really weird slate.
Yeah. Between 4.4 and 5.4, every other team. But you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You have 11 teams between 4.4 and 4.8 for implied totals. They're like the same team, you could almost argue, with a lot of these.
I kind of like that for today. I'm hoping that I get like overly concentrated on some teams that just aren't being paid attention to in the same way.
Yeah. I currently am.
Well, there you go.
But they're popular. This is to the Cubs. So much of that is, I know the Cubs, started off the season hot, but they're not a good team. Also, pay attention to weather here. Pay attention to weather in a lot of these games. It's still early, so we're not going to go super deep into this, but there are probably like 6 or 7 games that have some type of question marks. This one probably.
I hate weather.
What's that?
I hate the weather so much.
This one probably the worst, but I think the price on the Chicago team, just among all of their hitters, they're really cheap.
Yeah.
Really cheap.
They're hard to avoid, which, I don't love considering I'm getting to them and I don't normally get to teams in this spot, but what else are you supposed to do?
I know. The weather doesn't look great here. The cool thing about weather when you're talking about football is that you can find angles there. The game's still going to play.
Yeah. Now it's like, maybe I roster this team and I don't lose all my points and shit.
Exactly.
Because I got, what was it, Atlanta a couple nights ago? That one got me. Fuck.
Also, is Paredes going to be in the lineup today for Chicago is another question.
What did you see?
I haven't seen anything yet. I just know that he was acquired yesterday.
Gotcha.
And with baseball, you see some pretty quick turnarounds. Like Arias, I remember he started the next day for San Diego when they picked him up from Miami. Remember they made that trade earlier this year? He started
Yeah.
the next day, I think it was.
I mean, conceivably he could be. I would imagine he's not, but
I don't know.
no reason that he couldn't be.
Any other pitchers?
No, like I said, I only have 4 of them with any sort of volume. Now, obviously, like Logan Gilbert, Eovaldi, I don't mind getting to those guys just because they're actually talented, but they get blocked out by Skenes and Pivetta for me.
Pretty much. The way I'm at right now, it's just a lot of Skenes, a lot of Pivetta, a lot of Marsh. I don't, sometimes I'll get to some guys that just aren't getting a lot of ownership.
Yeah.
Right now, that's not the case. I don't have really any of these unowned options. Like my 3 highest exposed guys, Josh, are the 3 highest owned pitchers on the slate.
Yeah, and I think that's right for today. I don't really see what the alternative would be to change that.
Me neither. Let's get a home run parlay in here before we talk bats.
Let us do that.
All right. So there are
we putting together a 3-pick round robin live on Odd Shopper Live immediately after the show.
Yes, sir. I think it's high time you hit one of these.
I got 1 of 3 last time out. So that paid for everything that we needed to do. That brought us equal. You get 1 out of that 3, you're good. You hit 2, you're printing. You hit 3, oh my God, we're cranking it everywhere.
How is 1 out of 3 getting you back?
The line was, plus enough that covered.
I'm saying, are you betting them straight too?
All 3 straight.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying the 1 in a round robin.
No. All 3 straight as well.
Okay, so you're saying just hitting that straight bet on a long odds homer was enough.
Yeah, and it wasn't even that long. It was the 300 and change, I think.
Okay. You got anything for us? And if you guys have them in chat, throw them out there because we use one of yours every time.
I'm looking at mine right now.
I have one. And I'm not even going to get too deep into like how, what the EV is on these, because the other day, 2 days in a row, I had 2 and decided against them because I was like, it's slightly negative EV, but then they ended up both hitting. So
that's what happens.
Yeah. So I think I may go back to the well with O'Neal Cruz today. Even if it doesn't look great. I mean, this dude.
Okay.
Well, I mean, look, first off, just been on a bit of a heater. I'm pretty sure he's got like 5 homers over his last 10 games or something ridiculous. But outside of just that, Jake Bloss has had some homer issues. I talked about it coming into that last one. Yeah. There is some power potential here. Coughed up 4 home runs to Oakland. If we wanted to, though, we could do this on Caesars at plus 380 and then build one out at Caesars today. It's up to you because I can throw you some other homer picks in here as well. Doesn't make a difference to me.
By the way, your boy O'Neal Cruz, 314 plate appearances against Jake Bloss's pitch types over the past year and a half. 219 regular ISO, 255 X ISO. Yeah, looks good. Looks good.
Yeah, no issue with that. Jake Bloss too. Just a lot of power allowed right now. I don't mind kind of riding that wave.
My dog really wants our cleaners to come into the house.
Oh. O'Neal Cruz has a 263x ISO just against righties this season. Big numbers.
Why are they ringing the doorbell? I got to let my cleaner in. Give me 1 second. I got mine, by the way. Take a look at Bryce Harper.
Ooh, okay. Against Luis Hill. Come on in. Let's see. I signed him. Devers, Duran. Okay, so you're basically just lefties for Boston today against Gilbert. Yeah, Gilbert's funny because Gilbert's a guy that does actually give up some homers. He's just really good. But he will give up lefty power. We've seen it. Coughed up a decent amount of power already to lefties. Looking now too, you look against lefty bats this year. Chris Flexen's allowed 12. The problem with this, I was looking at this Kansas City team.
I'm here.
Josh, I don't know if you could hear me. Looking at the Kansas City Royals today, and this'll dovetail perfectly into getting in the top stacks as well. Okay. Because Kansas City against Flexen is one of those spots. But you look at Kansas City and you're like, all right, man, Flexen gives up a ton of power to lefties. A lot. I think it's like 2.1 home runs per 9 or something. It's hold on, I'll tell you right now. Chris Flexen to lefties is at 2.36 home runs per 9 to left-handed bats this year. Really pitiful stuff for sure. Even if he hasn't been, what's that?
214 X ISO.
Yeah, just bad stuff. But your lefties, like, okay, Frazier, Pasquantino's probably the guy I'd go to. I'd probably go to Vinny P here. Let's see, because I actually don't mind this spot for him. Guy hasn't hit a homer since May. Now early July. He started off the season so hot. What are his odds to homer today? This would have to be like
Pasquantino's plus 360.
That doesn't seem that. This is just off the top of my head. That doesn't seem great.
No, I like the Bobby Witt line. Plus 280 isn't all that crazy for this spot.
Yeah, I don't hate it. Man, plus 360 on Vinny P.
That's not good enough. That he shouldn't have a home run line. I was trying to find a lefty. Best line that I see is probably for, if you're trying to get a lefty, is probably for Massey at plus 420.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to ask you what you thought on like Frazier at plus 950, just because Flexen's so bad at power against giving power up to lefties.
Yeah, I mean, that's not the guy you want.
It's not good.
That's not the guy you want.
No, it's not.
I think Bobby Witt has the best line. And 224 X ISO to righties for Flexen over the past year and a half. Even if you just look at this year, it's plus 180. Witt profiles with a plus 250, or yeah, plus 250 with a 250 X ISO. If I'm taking one side of this one, it's Witt. By the way, righty power plays up in this park way more than lefty. 107 park factor to righties, 91 to lefties.
Big time. Yeah, absolutely. And Flexen's still, like you said, not good against righties. Just doesn't give up as many homers.
Yeah.
Against that. Muhammad's on Simeon, Marcus Simeon, Gurriel, and Melendez. All right, so Melendez working with the same team that we're talking about here. Yeah. I can respect that. Lefty too, MJ Melendez. You got him batting out of the 7-hole, but
I don't like the Simeon line. Gurriel, I could have a conversation about at plus 560.
Melendez is plus 370. So, I mean, clearly these books are heavily pricing in Flexen power troubles.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
Yeah, Melendez gets streaky. I don't hate Melendez at that spot. It's just, would I not, for two guys that are streaky between Melendez and Vinny Pasquantino, would I not, just thinking through this, Josh, rather take the guy that's batting third and potentially get the extra plate appearance from him with the same odds when they're pretty much the same?
I think so. I'm looking at Gurriel right now too from Muhammad's shout out. I don't hate that at all. 1,100 pitches for Mitchell Parker against righties this year. 225 X ISO. Gurriel's got a 191 X ISO against lefties in that spot. Line for Gurriel currently sitting at plus 560. Kind of like it.
I don't hate that at all. I have one more I'm going to throw out at you. Okay, so Alec Marsh, legit reverse splits for power. Okay. we can talk about that, but he's allowed over 2 home runs per 9 to righties this season. And what about Luis Robert? I haven't looked at the odds yet.
Plus 330. I don't hate it.
Alec Marsh.
I've got a little bit of positive EV on Andrew Vaughn.
That I don't hate either. 237 ISO, 220 X ISO versus righties this year for Alec Marsh. You just mentioned favorable righty power park.
Yeah.
Maybe we look to some righties for this White Sox team, honestly.
Not a horrible plan. Eloy is at plus 430. I kind of like that as well. But honestly, plus 330 for Lubob with the way that he's hitting, why not?
I think I'm going to put, that's going to be mine. That's where I'm going to go. Give me Luis Robert. I like that you brought up that.
Wait, I thought you were going O'Neal Cruz.
I'm switching.
Okay.
I'm switching. I think this is actually a better spot.
Okay.
Larger sample on Marsh too.
Jordan. Yeah, take out Bryce Harper and give me O'Neal Cruz.
Okay. All right. I must say, the more I talk through this, the more I kind of like a White Sox stack today.
I mean, I have a lot of Paul DeJong and Lubob right now.
Do you?
Yeah.
Kind of interesting to me, just knowing that you have that power potential given up by Alec Marsh. Especially against right. Maybe they're better like one-off or skinny, like small secondary stacks.
Well, the problem right now is that they're projecting it to go outfield, 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 outfield 2 through 5.
Yeah, that's not great.
No, they don't even have a first baseman in the lineup today.
Yeah. But they're not that expensive. Actually, they're dirt cheap. Outside of Luis Robert, who's only 4,800, the next most expensive hitter is 3,800.
Yeah, they are free. We have them 8th in top value. I have them 3rd.
Okay. Do you? You have them 3rd, huh?
Yeah. Which makes sense.
No, we have them 3rd.
Do we?
We have them 11% top value behind the Cubs and the Pirates. Yep.
I wonder if
I'm looking at the top stack tool, unless you recently updated it and I didn't. But we have them.
I think it might be the opposite that okay. I didn't.
Yeah, we still have them. I just refreshed again. We still have them 3rd.
No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, we have them 8th. What column are you reading?
What are you reading?
Top value. 6.2%.
On DraftKings?
Yep. Nope.
Yeah, I have him as 3rd.
I was on FanDuel.
There we go.
But like I wasn't on FanDuel.
But you were though.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that makes way more sense now.
Yeah.
I was so far off.
Right. So 3rd. We have him 3rd.
Okay. So now we're in the exact same boat then.
I'm looking at
it. Makes more sense.
What's that?
That all makes more sense now.
Yeah. The Sims tool is going to guide you to a lot of this anyway. We know that. Link in the description, by the way, too. You want to try it for a week, a month. MLB tools galore. Top stacks tool, top pitchers tool, top hitters tool, ownership, player projections, the holy grail, the Sims tool, of course. The post-contest simulator, the late swap tool, contest generator, all of that stuff. Like if you're looking to take your game to the next level, look no further than this. And we have a ton of different pricing options. You can get in at any level that you're looking for. We just had Joey Prindle again, who took down the 60K last month. Just hit us up the other day with another $25,000. Ron, news guy, our guy, Ron, who does a lot of this and like helps me out with the Hall of Fame stuff. I've just been getting DMs throughout. I was at Lake Wallenpaupack in the Poconos, just getting DMs throughout the week. He's like, here's one. So I could send the rings out to him, like 50K, 25, 30K, rocking the avatar, using the Sims. So, I mean, the proof is in the pudding. I need not say much more, Josh.
You can't beat it. And more to come in the near future.
You guys are going to love this, especially for those of you that play like one or only a couple entries. You're going to love this. I think it's pretty revolutionary, honestly. But yeah, links down there in the description and chat. You ever have questions, feel free to hit us up. Yeah, let's do it. And join the Discord when you do. Even if you just grab the lineup generator, you still get the Discord with that. Or you're like, hey, I want to win my way to a free sub. Rock the Stochastic avatar. Stochastic.com/HOF. You go there, download the avatar, use it wherever it is you play. Finish top 3 in a field of 5,000 or more. It could be a 25-cent entry. It doesn't matter. You could win $50 and you still get an entire month of all of our MLB tools, including the Sims, $200 value. And then if you win again within a calendar year, you get even better stuff. If you win again, you get all access monthly, $500, $550 value. So rock that. And the Ring of Honor, really sweet engraved ring in a display case with your name, your win, the date, spinning, by the way, with any 20K win. So rock the avatar, nothing to lose there. Only a lot to gain. All right. So looking through this, we got Cruz. Who's our third? Do we want to go with Gurriel call from chat?
I like it. I looked it up and it all looked good to me. So
we have O'Neal Cruz, we have Luis Robert, and we have Gurriel.
Yep.
All right, I'm locking it in. I put 10 on this.
That's a manageable one for us today.
Yep, I put 10 on this every time we do it. What are the odds at?
Plus 130 with 130 to 1, basically. What I think I see.
Okay. All right. So we're not straying too far off course here. I like this. I'm going to jam it in right now. Talk to me about some other bats while I place this bet before the odds move.
Yeah, like I mentioned before, my most exposed stacks right now are the Pirates, which I love against Blas, the Cubs, which are popular right now, but are incredibly easy to get to. And if I'm looking at other teams that I'm a bit over the field on, the White Sox are one of them. We outlined what we think of Marsh and sort of the problems that the righty power can show here. I'm happy to be getting to pieces of the White Sox, in particular, those righty bats. After that, though, I don't really have a team. Like, I'm with the field on the Royals. They're the chalkiest team right now. Holding hands there seems fine. I don't really have any other major stands. I'm right around the field on everybody else. Even like the major chalk, I guess the Mariners have some decent ownership. I'm pretty light there. I'm a little bit lighter on the Diamondbacks right now than the public is showing. But my biggest stands are the Pirates and the Cubs.
Okay. By the way, guys, if you're ever placing home run parlays, make sure that you're doing yourself a favor and shopping these odds around. Like, it's 100 to 1 on Caesars. You're giving up so much money. If you're looking, I think probably BetMGM probably has the best odds, but just keep that in mind. Odd Shopper too. You can shop the odds free under our live odds tool. But
yep.
If I were to just go a step further with stack exposure today, did you mention Seattle?
I mentioned that I'm Seattle. Under the field.
Okay, I'm above the field on Seattle today.
Okay.
And I think it was Stephen Leibowitz who mentioned it in chat. Forgive me if it wasn't. It was somebody. Like, hey, Pavetta is pretty good, but the Seattle stack isn't bad. I don't disagree with that at all because we've seen Pavetta get himself into some messes that he can't get out of.
Yeah. Rosarania now on Seattle, so
yep.
They're improved a little bit, especially with no them missing some bats.
Pavetta's wildly unpredictable. You look through his game log, and he's just all over the map.
Yeah, well, he better be very predictable today in the good way, considering he's in 3/4 of my lineups.
If you're including 4 and 3 stack exposures, 3-man exposure, I have 20% Seattle stacks, but I also have 40% Pavetta. So I have a decent amount of both there.
I wouldn't be surprised if I end up with a little bit more, but I think I'm more likely to end up with some Astro stacks than I am on the opposite side there.
I don't have any Astros.
Not that I don't really want to.
I have some Pittsburgh, I have some Washington. I have a lot of Cubs. I'm not really getting the much White Sox, but I think this is one of those spots where I would do a little bit of a manual boost just to get some White Sox here because everything we kind of talked about working through the homer props, the White Sox aren't good. We
I
know
thought you said
that.
Emmanuel Boost, like he was some new dude on one
Again,
of these
no,
teams,
no.
some Dominican slugger.
Working through this though, they're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, probably 6 righties in the lineup. Some of them that have power. I don't hate it.
I don't think it's crazy.
Any contrarian spots that we haven't talked about yet? For me, it would be Chicago. They're getting only 5% right now. It's not a lot.
I don't have one. I guess the White Sox. I mean, they have 5% ownership. They're 11th. I have 11%. That's probably my contrarian spot, and I'm very happy to get to them.
Interestingly, the Mets are getting some of the lowest ownership on the slate. My guess is just because they are very expensive at the
Yeah,
top. And
they are dead last in value.
Yeah, Woods Richardson hasn't been that bad.
No.
So it takes some shine off of that for sure.
And with Skenes and Pavetta being the like overwhelming top pitchers and us not having a lot of value, it makes it a lot harder to get to the Mets.
For an
And
eight
even
gamer,
still, like we only have them 13th in top stack odds. So that has nothing to do with salary.
that's a good point. Right. Right. Woods Richardson's been way better from a run prevention standpoint than expected.
Yeah.
Jake said he has 43% Seattle right now.
That seems like a lot.
Let's close with this. Eric Johnson, can I fade Skenes? What are you like? Obviously, the answer is you can fade anybody, Jess, but what are your kind of overarching thoughts if we're to put a bow on this one before we go? Like where you stand on getting Skenes, getting away from him on a slate where he is getting a lot of ownership?
I mean, like you can do all things through Christ, but I don't know why you would want to get rid of Skenes today. He's profiling as the best option, even in a bad matchup. The strikeout stuff in the betting markets projects incredibly. Do you want to go to like Pavetta, Colin Rea, or something like that? Sure, it's fine. It's not a problem ever to fade anybody in baseball. I don't. It's not going to be something that I'm doing.
I do want to. So Lee Price said yes, you can due to his price. I actually think on a slate like this, the price would be the least of the reasons that you would fade Paul Skenes.
Yeah, he's underpriced in this spot.
Not only is he underpriced, but it's not like you have these bang up alternatives. Like, yeah, sure,
No.
Pavetta's in a good spot, but he's not a sure thing. Logan Gilbert's good, but he's not that much cheaper. I don't know. I think when you look at the pricing on some of these other teams as well, there's so many discounted stacks and good matchups. You don't have Philly on this slate. You don't have the Yankees on this slate. You don't have the Dodgers on this slate. You don't have Coors Field. There's a lot of spots that are just flat out missing.
Yeah. It's thin. It's really thin.
What do you got coming up after this?
Odd Shopper live on the Odd Shopper YouTube channel. I'm going live for half hour, 45 minutes, hour, who knows. Finding anywhere we can find some expected value, and we're going to build a home run round robin.
How sick would it be if we hit it here and you hit the round robin?
Yeah, we're just hitting every home run prop we made. It'd be nice.
Be the best.
I'm not incredibly confident in that one.
Appreciate you guys. As always, fun show. We'll be back tomorrow. You see at the top of the screen too, if you're not on Underdog yet and you're looking for just, free bonus or bonuses injected into your account, 50% match up to $250 instantly. No drip bonus, none of that nonsense. 50% up to $250. Link in the description and in chat. Monster $1 million+ $18 million in best ball contest, daily drafts for every sport, pick'em contests for those of you in non-legal betting states. Matter of fact, for those of you about to watch Josh's show, your first order of business should just be going on to every pick'em site and just getting the sign-up bonuses.
Yep.
But yeah, right there in the description in the chat. Oh, Clintwood had a super chat that we missed. Let's do this, Josh, and then we'll go. So at the moment, your favorite stack for DraftKings single entry. Thanks, guys. Thanks for reminding me, Clint. I missed that. I mean, for me, I'll say this much. If you're trying to get different for me, it would probably be Seattle or the White Sox. It'd be Seattle or White Sox. The two highest owned pitchers not named Paul Skenes today are Pivetta and Marsh. Skenes is so good that I'm not a huge fan of stacking against him on an 8-game slate, but I do see a path there in single entry with Seattle or the White Sox.
Pirates for me.
Okay. And Bloss actually one of the higher owned pitchers on this slate as well.
Yeah, I'll take that, love. That'll help.
Appreciate you guys. Have a great rest of the day. See you back here tonight live before lock. Josh will be with you on X and here on YouTube if you wanted to watch on the Odd Shopper YouTube channel. Till next time, peace.